finding my coffee. Hello everyone, welcome back to another video. My name is Sydney and today I'm going to be doing the mid-year freakout tag. So I wasn't technically tagged by anybody to do this and I'm not going to tag anybody to do this. I think this is just a fun check-in to do in the middle of the year to answer a couple questions about what my favorite reads have been, some of my disappointing reads so far, and all that kind of stuff. So there are a list of 13 questions here that I'm just gonna go through and talk about, and I do have pre-prepared answers to these questions because when I was thinking about doing this video, I was like, I don't know how many good books I've read so far in 2021. Honestly, a lot of them I was looking back on, I was like, I don't know if I really enjoyed many of these books, so this might be a little bit difficult. Hey Benji, can you not chew on your bone right now? My dog's chewing on his bone right now, of course. He's gonna make noise. So it was a little bit hard to come up with answers to these questions, but we're just gonna roll with it. Hopefully the second half of this year is better in terms of reading for me. This year is also the year that I started actively being an avid reader again. So there are books in here that I was just picking up because I didn't really know what else to pick up at the time. So I am still narrowing down my favorite types of books to read, but we'll just get into the questions and see how this goes. So number one is best book you've read so far in 2021. And I think the one that comes to mind the most, I have three for different genres, but I think the number one that keeps coming to mind is, I guess I could pull it down for you because I have it right here. And that is The Invisible Life of Addie LaRue by V.E. Schwab. I remember loving this book so much. I think I read it in February or March. But yes, I absolutely loved this book. I thought it was such a great character-based fantasy, and I loved Addie so much. She's probably one of my favorite female characters I've ever read about. Normally I favor the male characters. I don't know why, I just really like male characters in books. I have a dog ear in here. I didn't tab this one. This was before I started tabbing my books, but I see a dog ear, but nothing's highlighted, so I'm not entirely sure why. I'd have to read the whole page. But anyway, yes, so I think this is my favorite book of the year so far. Like I said, it was just a beautiful character-based fantasy. I just absolutely loved the concept too, which I'm sure everybody knows what this book is about by now, so I'm not going to get too much into it, but I absolutely loved the story of this, and yeah, my favorite book of the year so far. And just for fun, I'll let you know the other two that I've written down. So this was my favorite of all time, but also slash fantasy favorite. My favorite romance that I read this year is Birthday Girl by Penelope Douglas. This was a very taboo type romance relationship situation that I just absolutely loved and kind of lived vicariously through. So if you know what this is about, you know what this is about, but I loved it a lot. That's all I'm going to say. It was just so spicy and steamy and just an amazing read for me. I just fell in love with this book. And then my favorite thriller of this year so far will probably have to be No Exit by Taylor Adams. Loved this book a lot. It was just so insane. A great thriller for me. But right below this one, I think I'd have to give it to The Silent Patient by Alex Michaelides. I absolutely loved. My dog's drinking water. You done? Absolutely loved The Silent Patient as well, so that's right below. Excuse you. So that's right below No Exit by Taylor Adams. Okay, number two is best sequel you've read so far in 2021. As I was looking back at the books that I've read so far this year, I've only really technically read one sequel, and that is Take a Hint, Dani Brown in the Brown Sisters trilogy. But again, I don't know how much of a sequel that is because it just follows another sister. So it's like kind of a standalone, but it's just like in the series, you know what I mean? I didn't really love that one at all, so I'm not gonna give it to that. I mean, I liked it. I'm not saying I hated it, but I'm not gonna give that to be the best sequel. So I think I'm gonna have to give it to not technically a sequel, but a third. What is that? Oh no. Okay, I'm so sorry about that. Had to take a brief intermission there because I don't even want to say what I just saw, but let's just say it was a bug and I flipped out and it was a whole dramatic scene just now, okay? On top of my kitchen cabinets, I saw, I can't even say the word. Anyways, I'll put a picture of what it was. That's what was on top of my kitchen cabinets. So I freaked out, had to call in the husband, and then it was a whole thing. Okay, anyways, we're back now, so sorry if the camera shifted a little bit. Collect myself, because I hate bugs. I hate them so much. So I freaked out, shed a few tears, but I think we're back, okay? And my dog's drinking water again. This is quite a chaotic video, that's for sure. So what I was saying was, for my best sequel I've read so far this year is not technically a sequel, it's a, what's the word? Third companion? What is the word for that? Third edition. Third, book in a series, but that would have to be The One by Kiera Cass. So I read about half of the selection series at the beginning of this year, and the first half I read like a whole year before that, so like the beginning of 2020, and then I went into my whole reading slump for a year long, and then I picked it back up in the beginning of this year, and I really liked The One. That was probably my favorite in that series, so I'm gonna have to give it to that book, The One by Kiera Cass. Number 3 is new release you haven't read yet but want to, and that definitely has to go to, where is it? That would definitely have to be The Maidens by Alex Michaelides. I'm so excited for this one because, like I said, I loved The Silent Patient, and this is the same author, so very, very excited to read this. Got it in my book of the month box, so new release. This is it. Number 4 is most anticipated release for the second half of the year, and I think I have 2. Survive the Night by Riley Sager and 8 Perfect Hours by Leah Lewis. I'm excited for both of these because I actually haven't read a Riley Sager book yet, but I have The Last Time I Lied right here. Again, I love thrillers, so I think I would really, really enjoy Survive the Night. And then I'm interested in the 8 Perfect Hours book because I like books that have the trope characters in close proximity like trapped together, and so that's what this book is about. They're stuck in a snowstorm of some sort. Don't really remember all the details, but very much excited to get my hands on that at some point and read it. Sounds very interesting. Number 5 is biggest disappointment of 2021 so far, and that definitely has to go to the Shadow and Bone trilogy. I was very disappointed by this. I remember reading Shadow and Bone and being like, okay, this is not great, but maybe it's just because it's the first book, like it'll get better. I'm excited to read Siege and Storm. I'm not gonna like not continue the series just because this one was for me. But then I picked up Siege and Storm and I almost like really enjoyed it in the beginning. My favorite character was introduced in this book, so I was like, oh my gosh, has so much potential. I'm really excited to like love this book, and it really sucked. It was a very disappointing read for sure. But then I was like, okay, I've gotten this far, I'm just gonna finish out the series, because I was also doing it for the sake of the show because I wanted to read the whole trilogy before watching the show. So I picked up Ruin and Rising and I was like, are you kidding me? Third time's not a charm. This was just as bad as the other two. Like, I just felt like nothing happened in this entire series and they could have been so much better. So I was very disappointed in these, but I was like, okay, I guess I'm glad I read it. Like, now I can watch the show and like say I've read the books, but they were just not at all it for me. I was so disappointed. So yeah, definitely biggest disappointment of the year so far. And then number 6 is biggest surprise of the year. I think I'll have to give this one to No Exit by Taylor Adams as well, because the whole story was what surprised me. Like, I wasn't surprised that I loved the book. I was surprised at the actual story and the plot twists and everything. I was like, holy crap, like this is so good. I was so invested, on the edge of my seat the entire time. So definitely biggest surprise goes to No Exit by Taylor Adams. Number 7 is favorite new author, so either debut or new to me. A lot of the books that I've read are new to me authors because, like I said, I'm just now starting like avidly reading. So based off of what I've read so far this year, I would have to say my new favorite author, or first favorite author. I never really had a favorite author before, but I think I've only also read the one book, so I don't know if it's fair to say that she's my favorite, but you know, for the sake of the video and for the sake of saying that I have a favorite author, I'm gonna have to say V.E. Schwab because of how much I loved The Invisible Life of Addie LaRue, because of how lyrically written it was. So obviously props to V.E. Schwab for that and for making me feel so emotional while reading that book. I'll definitely have to say that she is my favorite as of right now, but we'll check back in at the end of the year and see if that changes. But that's my answer for now. Number 8 is newest fictional crush. This answer is kind of embarrassing and I don't know why. When I read this book, I completely fell in love with the love interest character. Like, there's no other way of explaining it. I just really loved him, and that would be Dax from By Your Side by Casey West. I don't know why. I think it's embarrassing because I think, like, in the book he's what, 17 or something, and I'm 22, so it's a little bit weird in terms of that. But I put myself in the shoes of the main character. I can't even remember the girl's name. I just really fell in love with Dax because I love the kind of soft, shy, mysterious boy that's like, seems like a jerk, but he's really just quiet and to himself. Like, that's me, that's totally who I am. So I had a soft spot for him, and I really loved the way he treated our main character. Again, I can't remember her name. I just really fell in love with him because of how sweet and genuine he actually was when he put off this aura of being kind of a douchebag. People just kind of labeled him that way because of his looks. So he's like kind of a dark, bad boy looking, dark hair, dark features, stuff like that. And yeah, there's really no other explaining or justifying why he is my newest fictional crush. He just is and was when I read it. I really enjoyed the book at the time, but I don't know, like, if I reread it, I might still love it just because I really loved his character. But anyway, yeah, that's all I'm gonna say. Number 9 is newest favorite character. I feel like these are interchangeable for me because, like I said, I really like the male characters more often than the female. So though I really did love Addie LaRue's character, I also really loved Nikolai from the Shadow and Bone trilogy. He is what made those books for me at least a little bearable because I loved his character and I cannot wait to read King of Scars. I loved his humor, his banter with other people. He was just interesting to read about and I really wanted to see more about him. So like I said, Dax and Nikolai can be interchangeable from my fictional crush slash just favorite character because I did really love Nikolai and the way that he was portrayed in the books. A very attractive character, just like the way that, you know, I picture him. That being said, hopefully for the Shadow and Bone show, I know it got renewed for a season 2 and I'm figuring that Nikolai will be introduced in season 2, so hopefully they cast him well. If they have already, I don't even know, maybe they have and I just don't know who he is, but I'm afraid to look because if he's not casted well, then that might not make him my favorite character anymore, but we'll see. But yeah, he was my favorite just because he's hilarious and brought life to the Shadow and Bone trilogy for me. I just absolutely loved him so much. And then number 10 is a book that made you cry, and that was right here actually. Firefly Lane by Kristen Hanna. This was so emotional for me, but yeah, I sobbed a lot in this book. It was so emotional and just really real to real life. It was hard to read but made me cry a lot. Number 11 is a book that made you happy, and for this one I said Get a Life, Chloe Brown, because I loved the idea of Chloe, our main character, struggling a lot with the chronic illness that she's had in her life, having to deal with that and just kind of being bitter towards a lot of people because she's just always in pain, and seeing the relationship she builds with the love interest in that, whose name is Red. I really loved to see that. It made me very happy because I loved Red's character as well. He's an artist and adventurous and kind of what exactly Chloe needed in her life. The adventures that they went on together with the motorcycle ride and the camping and all the things that they did together was really sweet and made me happy to see Chloe do that with Red. I just love a good put you out of your comfort zone adventurous read. But yeah, it was a very sweet read for sure. Number 12 is the most beautiful book you've bought or received recently so far this year, and I really don't have too many that are that beautiful. Like I don't have any special editions from any like book boxes or anything, so they're all basic editions. But I think I'd have to say People We Meet on Vacation by Emily Henry. I love this color combo, orange and green. Obviously, like, there's not much special here. Like, there's no sprayed edges or end pages or like a cover. Like, this is just a book of the month. So I'm strictly going off of the cover of the books, so I really like this one just because of the color. I'll have to say that. But hopefully in the second half of the year I get special editions. I am signed up for Fairy Loot now, I think also Owl Crate, so maybe in the second half of the year I'll get some really pretty editions from those. That'll be something I'll have to check back in with you guys at the end of the year. I could also say Malibu Rising by Taylor Jenkins Reid. I love the ocean, so this is very beautiful to me. Again, the colors are beautiful. The next question is, the last question is number 13. What books do you need to read by the end of the year? All of them. I have so many books still to read. I think at this halfway point I've read 42 or 43 books, and my Goodreads goal is 75. So we're doing good on the goal, but there are so many books on my Lifetime TBR obviously that I have not read yet. I'm really behind because of only starting this year. Again, this is the third time I'm mentioning it in this video, but specifically I want to read the ACOTAR series. I want to read from Blood and Ash series. I want to read the entire Shadowhunters series. So pretty much everything on this shelf here. I've also got to read Scythe because I'm doing a buddy read for that one. And then I have to get to King of Scars, of course. I have to finish my Twilight read for the first time. I have to read the Graceling series for another buddy read. I have to read all of my romances that I have on here. Literally everything on this shelf, pretty much. I have to read some Stephen King books. So that's a silly question. Like, all of them I have to read? All of them. That's my answer. But yeah, okay, so that's it for the questions. I hope this video wasn't too chaotic with having to pause for the cockroach incident and just everything else. I feel like it was really chaotic, but I tried my best, and I hope you enjoyed hearing a little bit of a book check-in with me for the mid-year. And I'm really excited for the second half of the year to get into lots more books and dedicate myself to reading a little bit quicker than I did the first half of the year, and just picking up all of the big name books that I have yet to read. But yeah, thank you so much for watching. Hope you enjoyed this video, and comment down below what #1 book is on your TBR for the second half of the year. And I hope you guys are all doing well, and I will see you guys in my next video. Bye!